That's my phone. I thought I had them turned it down, but obviously I didn't. Hello, hello. It's your girl Valerie Mason Chase again, and welcome to another episode of Marriage Beyond the Breach. So, first of all, I just want to give a thank you for anyone who's watching now or may tune in later and watch at a later time. I thank you for watching. Thank you for your support. So, it is my belief that anyone over the age of 25 has probably at some point experienced a heartbreak in their life. So that's what we're going to be talking about tonight. We're going to be talking about heartbreak, but not just heartbreak, but also how to heal from that heartbreak. And I have two guests with me tonight who haven't been here for some time, but I want you all to give them a Marriage Beyond the Breach welcome. I'm going to bring first Mr. Melvin McCain. Hey, Mel.
Hi, it's a pleasure to be here. It is a pleasure to be here. It's been a while. It's been a
It's been a
while.
while. It's
It
been a
is, but this
while.
is a very serious topic. And I would love to get right into the meat of this,
Okay,
because
we'll get in it.
I believe it to be a disease. That's
Okay,
how that.
but before we do,
Mhm.
since I have introduced you, I would like for you to introduce yourself to the viewers. Just tell them a little bit about yourself, whatever it is you want to share.
Hi, my name is Melvin. It's a pleasure to be here. I'm here tonight to voice my opinion. Not that it's right or wrong, but it's what I believe or what I felt or what I experienced. I've been through a divorce. I've been hurt in relationships. I've been mistreated in relationships. Because I'm a nice guy. You know,
Mm,
and
mhm, mhm.
the healing process is deep. Because really we never looked at this relationship thing on a spiritual aspect.
Mhm,
And I'm
mhm.
learning that now relationships is more spiritual than anything.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
once that spirit has been broken within that
Mhm.
relationship, it's hard to mend that relationship back.
Yeah.
There's so many
Yeah.
different obstacles that will step in the way because it's so spiritual. Love is love. Love is spiritual. You
Yeah.
know,
And while we're talking about love, if you want to share children,
Mhm,
grandchildren, great grands, great grands, what you got?
mhm. Oh, I'm blessed. I am truly blessed. I got more years in back of me than I do in front of me. But I
I
am truly blessed
with you there.
because God has blessed me. I have
Mm-hmm.
I have 5 children,
Mm-hmm.
13 grand, and 3 great grand.
Woo!
God has truly blessed me uh, with the legacy. And this is
Yeah.
why.
Yeah.
And when you have to learn to change your life around in stages. They say sometimes men have midlife crisis. I believe the crisis is adapting to what the family need is, as far
Yeah.
as children, grandchildren, because they're going through
Mhm.
stages that we didn't already lived in with their parents. So I mean, it's very deep. It's very deep, and that's why I say I can't wait to get into the meat of this. It's going to be a very interesting topic.
Well, thank you, my brother, and I'm so happy to have you here. Well, now I'm going to bring to the stage my number one cheerleader, my bestest bestie, none other than my sister, Jacqueline V. Lawrence. I'll let you tell y'all what the V stands for.
Good evening. Good evening. She had to throw the V in. It is a pleasure to be here. It has been a while,
Hmm.
but my sister knows why. Melvin, Melvin, good to see you again.
Yes, it's good to
Um,
see you
a
again.
little
Now,
about
now
me.
that now that I heard your voice, I said, "Yeah, I know you."
Yes, you do.
Yeah, I did.
Yes, you do. I have 3 children, all grown. I have 5
Yeah.
grandchildren. My oldest grand is about to be 18. Oh,
Mm.
Jesus. I'm wrapping my head around that one. And then the second oldest is about to be 16. Hey there, Kimber.
Hmm.
How you doing, baby? Um, so as always, I am here to support my sister. It is a heavy topic and
Hmm.
something that definitely needs to be talked about. My experience, um, it was years back, but
Mhm.
looking forward to having this discussion, and let's see where we get with it.
Oh yeah. Well,
Mhm.
Melvin is ready to dive in. He wants to go
I
to
know, I
deep in
heard.
the pool. He don't want to just just go in the how do you call it, the 2 feet and 3 feet and end up to 12 feet. He want to just jump right into the 12 feet. So that's what we gonna do. And hey,
All
Kimba,
right.
thank you for watching, baby. I appreciate you. So when a person experiences betrayal, heartbreak, there sometimes are some emotional responses that they may experience. So, from your perspective, what are some of the most common emotional responses that an individual might experience after they discover betrayal? And if you've experienced that, what responses did you have? Hey, Pastor Sean, I love you too.
I would say, Jacqueline, would you like to go first, or would you like for me to go first?
It doesn't matter. You can go ahead. I'm fine.
Okay, I would say, like when I'm talking to you, I'm basing it on my experience and my life experiences.
Mhm.
And I would say
Yeah.
on that subject there, the first thing that you would notice is change of attitude. And
Mm, mm,
betrayal is the first is the change of attitude. It's a distance, it's a coldness. You can tell when the love is not there.
mm,
I mean, the love could be there, but on a different level.
mm,
So there's levels of love. There's levels of love as
mhm,
I love
mhm,
you to the deepest of deep. Then there's
yeah,
levels of love like I made a mistake, we didn't make it, but I love you. I'll do anything for you, but that part of me is dead
mm,
towards being with you. And when you're talking about that part, it's
mm,
not only lust. I keep saying, because like you said, intimacy and I'm sorry, that we're gonna get into that part. I know, but I was just saying, like, infidelity, it is a
mhm,
deep betrayal. It's a deep betrayal because it plays on every
yes,
part and aspect of your body. You can't sleep, you can't eat, you're hurting, and every
absolutely.
time you get a moment where
Mhm,
your mind is not on work or on family or on what's going on around you, when you got that silent time, that lone time, that's when it hits you in the gut. And you start to look
mm,
at yourself. You start to doubt yourself on how you move and what you did,
mhm, mhm,
but in
mm,
actuality, it's the person. The one who betrayed betrayal is them. It has nothing to do with you.
mhm,
Unless you're an abusive type person and you're nasty and your
absolutely.
attitude and you
And
can't be
sometimes
reached is one
that
thing. To
is
do that.
difficult for. I think sometimes that's difficult. Oh, I think that's my Wi-Fi is acting up.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
Sorry about that. My Wi-Fi was acting up a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. But I wanted to piggyback on what you said, Melvin, that um, when the betrayed partner starts to look at themselves and start to wonder if it's something that they said or did that resulted in the betrayal.
Mm-hmm.
And getting to the place where um, the betrayed partner does not accept that full responsibility for the betrayal, sometimes it can be challenging, but it
Mm-hmm.
is a necessary step, I believe, in the healing process. So,
Mm-hmm.
Jackie, what's your response to that? Some emotional responses that can be experienced
Well, the first one
betrayal
for
is
me
discovered.
is anger. The first one for me is
Mm-hmm.
anger.
Mm,
And then it's like you and Melvin both said, you start to look at
mhm, mhm,
yourself as the person who has been betrayed. What did I do? Or what could I have done to keep this from happening? Right? You start to take the blame on. There's also physical pain because when you are mentally and emotionally down,
mm,
it affects everything. Um,
Yes. Yes.
and so, when I had to
mhm,
deal with
mhm,
it, the first thing was some pretty bad anger, with some pretty bad anger. But thank God we came through that. The hardest part though is that feeling of your self-worth. You start to question it. You start to question your own self-worth. Like, what did I do again to cause this? It's my fault. We start to take on the blame when our partner betrays us. So we have to wait. Val will have to jump back in. So everybody that's there, just hold on. She'll be back. As she said, she was having some Wi-Fi issues. And that anger is dangerous.
Yes. Yes.
That anger, whoo.
Yes, because it can cause you to step out of yourself.
Absolutely.
You can have you ever had an out-of-body experience?
Out of body, sure did.
Yes. And you probably had one right there.
Sure did, had an out-of-body experience, because the anger will take you there. And you're right, it makes you come out of character.
Yes, that's right. You're right. You're right.
Oh, yeah.
And if you have other issues that you're dealing with that takes you overboard,
my husband, the cookie man, just wanted to.
Because you said I was your number one fan.
Yeah. You saw what your brother-in-law said. He wants to correct me. He says that he is a number one fan. Number one. Okay. Well, we'll have a 1A and a 1B. Y'all can share the spot.
Okay.
All right. I'm so sorry, but my Wi-Fi is really acting up tonight.
That's a hot topic.
Hold on for 1 second. I have to check something, because I think there might be what I think it is. There's the other devices on in the house somewhere that's pulling too much on it. So give me a second.
Okay.
I thought it was a real hot topic, and we have.
It is. That it is, Melvin.
I know, but it's good to see you, Jackie.
You too. How you have wait? How many grandkids you have?
I have 13 grandchildren.
God bless you. And 5 great grands.
And 5 grand. No, 4 great grand. 4
great grands.
4
okay.
great. Yeah.
God bless you.
Yeah. When I look back over my life, I'll be like, thank you, Jesus.
I know that's right, Melvin.
Because we all got a story. You know what I mean? But within that journey, you have been betrayed, you have been mistreated, you have been unappreciative, appreciated. It's it's life is hard, but I never think that it's so hard that you're supposed to give up.
Absolutely.
Because even the walk of Christ was hard.
Sure
is.
The
walk of Christ was hard. He suffered.
Well, that's very true. And
I believe that in periods in your life, you're going to suffer. I'm gonna tell you what I saw today.
Go ahead.
I was coming out of church. And I was leaving church, and I put all this garbage and stuff out, and I was locking the church up, and I was leaving, and I saw one of our church family members arguing to the point where they was almost in fighting. So, like you said, that anger from betrayal, that anger. Sometimes you can't let it go. You really need to speak to someone in the healing process to let it go. Now, you can say verbally, listen, I forgive you. You made a mistake. We can make this work. And then let's even move out of the community. Let's go somewhere else and start fresh. But you know what? When it gets that quiet time, or you see them do something where that red flag will go up, and there is no red flag. It's just your mind. It's your mind is playing tricks on you. It could be a telephone call where you answer too fast and, wrong number. And it sets a trigger off, and oh boy, your mind get to running. I tell you, man, it's deep. It is deep, but I believe the only way to get through the healing process is through conversation, and then, like I was saying to you earlier, you have to be able to look through the other lens, meaning the fact that not that you did anything wrong, but in the betrayal, what is that I didn't give you enough love. I mean, I'm not making passes or making excuses, but did I not give you enough attention? Did I not give you enough love? Did I not give you
Right.
enough? You know what part of you that in the beginning we had that you lost where you feel that you could get it somewhere else?
That's true, Melvin. That
Right.
is true.
Those are the
But
questions that that the betrayed partner will typically ask.
Mm-hmm.
Those are definitely questions that the betrayed partner will typically ask. Jackie, you were about to say something?
yeah, I was going to say what Melvin said is true. But from my experience, when someone does not know how to love themselves, that's a huge problem because they don't know how to love themselves, or when they grew up, they weren't shown love. And then here you come as a very
Right.
loving, caring person, and you want to pour all of this love on them. They don't know how to handle it.
They don't know how to handle it. Very true.
Yes.
Well, I think and most people do have an understanding of how the betrayed partner is impacted by infidelity. How do you think that the betrayer, the cheating partner, how do you think they're impacted?
Well, sometimes the cheater, they got caught, but really don't want to leave, don't really want to give up what they have. It's just as hard for them to get back to that part, to get back to that point, because they're struggling with the fact that, will I do this again? What happens when I feel like this again? What happens when he don't show me the
Right.
love that I need again? And I'm not saying all sisters. I'm just speaking from a man's point of view, because Lord knows,
Right.
them brothers, and I'm not putting foot on nobody, but Lords know on both sides. they make mistakes. They make mistakes. But the journey,
Absolutely.
what the pastor always say, the joy of the journey. Well, sometimes the journey is 4 walls. Sometimes the journey is in prison mentally or physically because of the abuse or the mistrust. Oh, this thing is it is a deep, and it goes from generation to generation. You know what happens to children that don't see love in the house? I'm serious. I never really looked at it until you stop sometime and you just look at children play. And you look at the difference of children that are shown love and those that are standoffish because love is not shown to them or in their household.
Yeah.
So they don't know how to perform or act. So what they do is they get defensive. And this is when you have a bully. This is when you have a bully in school or a bully on the playground, because they don't know that part. They don't know that part. They was never shown that part.
Yeah.
It's almost like you have a child that grew up in a situation where they didn't have the proper food, and then they come to your house and get the proper food, and they go into it on the fact that I might not get it like this again. So they go into it, and it's the same thing in anything. So they gouge in it, you know what I mean? They feed into it, but it's I'm telling you, wow. Sometimes
So Jackie, yeah, I just wanted to ask Jackie from her perspective, what do you think might be some of the impact or effect of infidelity on the unfaithful partner?
I think there's a moment where they do become fearful because they realize I could lose my partner. If they have children, I could lose my family. Everything that we've worked for together. My one mistake is going to mess that up. I also think that the other partner can become worried that the partner that they betrayed might turn around and do the same thing to them. That revenge stuff. And then, of course, they know that they have to. Well, I would hope they know that they have to try and rebuild that trust, and they might not know if they can do it.
Right. So, how do you think a couple can determine whether or not trust can be restored in their relationship?
I believe they both.
How might a couple determine that? I'm sorry. Go ahead, Mel. What'd you say?
I believe they both have to want it. You both
Okay.
have to want it. Listen, we human. We're gonna make mistakes.
Mm-hmm.
Some mistakes you
Mm-hmm.
can come back
Mm-hmm.
from, some you can't. But I believe through conversation, through honesty, when you really pull the covers off and say, yo, this is me. I'm not
Yeah.
perfect. I'm not perfect. And I did this not, like I said, there's no excuses for infidelity. There's no excuses,
Right.
you know,
None.
but and there's no right way to do wrong, but it's a respectful way to do something if you're going to do it. And what I mean is some people just abuse the respect part. See, that's the
Mm,
hard part. When you just blatantly, outright disrespect. You know what I mean? All right,
mm,
I stepped out. I was wrong. I was wrong, but I'm gonna wallow through all my shame and all my pain to get back to the woman that I love, that I betrayed. But
mm,
on the flip side of
mm-hmm,
that,
mm-hmm.
you got those that won't even acknowledge this. It's your fault. You did
Right.
this.
That is true.
I've heard men say, and I'm shooting, and I'm just through conversation. I've heard men say, "She robbed me of my best years." How could you say that when she was put in your life to enhance your life, not to shut you
Mm-hmm,
down? Even though, don't
mm-hmm,
get me
mm-hmm.
wrong, you got some sisters out there that tear you down. I mean, if you really want to be truthful, let's look
Yeah.
at it on both sides. Listen, I was abused. I was towed down from the ground to the floor and back.
Mm,
But
mm-hmm,
out of the
mm-hmm,
love and kindness, could that I thought I could withstand anything. But to the point where it was being disrespectful. That you disrespected even yourself to allow this, and you
mm,
knew it, and you knew it,
mm-hmm,
and you did nothing
mm-hmm,
about it, all because you were scared to step out on faith and live a cleaner life and live a different life.
mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's why I say
Yeah.
this is it's a real deep topic.
Hmm. But
Yeah.
people, whether or not you can get back to that trust, I think there are a lot
Mm-hmm.
of factors involved. One, I think it depends on the length of the relationship. How
Mm-hmm.
long have you been with this person?
Yeah. That's a fact.
Um,
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
is it something that they both want? Are they both
mm-hmm,
willing to
mm-hmm.
work at it? Because
Right.
you can want from
Right.
now until the cows come home, but you both
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
partners have to be willing to put the work in. And do they,
Yeah.
both partners have to determine, is
Mm-hmm.
the relationship worth fighting for?
Mm-hmm.
Right. That's a
Right.
big one. That
That's
is
a big.
absolutely a big one. And
Yeah.
only
Right.
the two people involved can really they can address that. Look at
Mm-hmm.
overall the relationship,
Mm-hmm.
the benefits, the risks, all of that. And I think one huge factor in a couple possibly determining whether or not the trust can be rebuilt is the unfaithful partner willing to be accountable?
Mm.
In the absence of accountability, I don't
Mm-hmm.
think trust can be reestablished.
Mhm. I
Mm.
agree.
Yeah,
Mm.
I don't think so. There's got to be a level of accountability and a willingness to have those difficult conversations and talk about it. Because sometimes
Mm.
the unfaithful partner wants to just say, "Okay, oh, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to do it. I won't do it again," and bada bing, bada boom, just wants to move on from it.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
But that will not help to reestablish
Right.
trust.
Right.
At least from my perspective, there's got to be a whole lot of conversations about that, and we're going to talk
Yeah.
about that
Yeah.
in a minute. But
Yeah. Mm.
what do you think are some of the first steps that a couple can take immediately after an affair is revealed? I call that D-Day, the day of discovery. What are some steps that a couple can take on D-Day and beyond, but immediately on D-Day?
Counseling. 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 Someone that can help
Mm-hmm.
you towards the healing process. You have to talk to someone towards the healing process because you have to
Mm-hmm.
look at this shame. You have to look at it. You can't just sweep it
Yeah.
under the carpet and think it's going to go away. You have to look at this shame.
Mm-hmm.
You have to talk about this shame, and then you start a healing process. Then you have to be able to admit to yourself and your
Mm-hmm.
spouse of your shortcomings and that how wrong you were. You know,
Yeah.
but a lot of folks will try to make you seem like it was your fault. It was your
Mhm.
doing. You know, it's because of what my job. I mean, they make all kind of excuses. You know, to
Yeah.
when they doing what they doing. You know what I'm saying? Oh,
Absolutely.
I needed that relief. I wasn't getting that type of relief at home. You know, they make all type of
Mhm.
excuses. Oh, I'm stressed at home. All I do is pay bills. So over there, I get some relief. No, listen, you got to look at the shame.
Yeah.
You gotta own up to the shame.
If they are experiencing shame, because some
Right.
people ain't shame of what they done. So,
Yeah.
if there is shame, to deal with it. But some people are not ashamed. Some people are not remorseful. Some people are not sorry. They're sorry they got caught, but they're not
Mm,
sorry that they engaged
mm,
in the behavior.
mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
So, Jackie, what do you say to that? On D Day, what are some steps
Well,
a couple might
like
take?
you said, accountability is first and
Mm-hmm.
foremost. I do agree with the counseling,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
but there needs to be that real heart to heart conversation between the partners.
Mm-hmm.
Because
Absolutely.
before you walk into a counselor's office,
Mm-hmm.
you should have had
Mm-hmm.
some type of conversation about what
Several.
happened, right? Why it happened,
Yes.
like where do we go from here? All of that needs to be done. And
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
going to, it's something that has to continue. But right after it's revealed, so let me
Mm-hmm.
back up a little bit. The revealing is a key. Did the person reveal it or did you catch them? Because see,
Right.
there's a difference, right? Your partner comes to
Exactly.
you and said, "Hey, babe, this happened, and I need to tell you about it," or you find out on your own. There's a difference, right?
Yeah.
So that plays a part in it. And then
Mm-hmm.
again, it's is it worth fighting for? And that conversation has to be had because
Yeah.
I'm not going to give you 100% of me again if you're only going to give me 30. See, I can't do that.
Mm,
Right.
mm-hmm.
Right.
And
Mm-hmm.
those
I
boundaries
get
have to
that.
be set.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Now, talk boundaries. Let's talk about boundaries in relation to having those conversations about the affair. What boundaries should be in place to ensure that the communication is productive and effective? Now, I know from my perspective what I believe the boundaries are, but what say you in terms of boundaries? When and
Well,
in terms of talking about the affair.
I don't want all of the go. I don't want all the details. I don't need that.
Mm, mhm, mhm.
Um, I don't need to know the when, the why, because well, the when or the where, because that's gonna stir my anger
Right.
back up. Right. The
Yeah.
fact is,
Yeah.
we know it happened. Where do we go from here?
Mhm.
I don't need to know anything about her. Well, a little bit. I just want to know why, and that's
Yeah, but
why.
here's the thing. But you know something, sis? That question, that why, that one word is the most difficult to answer, except with another one word, which in my perspective is selfishness. Because some people who are betrayed, they want to know, well, why? How could you do this? Why did you do this? And at least from my perspective, the simple answer is it doesn't make sense. Having cheating on someone that you love and who loves you doesn't make sense. And trying to answer the question why is trying to make sense out of nonsense. Now, we can look at, well, anyway, I won't, let Melvin answer first and then
Well,
I'll
yeah,
say what I
like you said, we could look at most of it selfishness,
Mhm.
greed. You know, you want your cake and your ice cream too. You know what I mean?
With a cherry on top.
Yeah, because like you said, if you have that type of love, listen, these days and times, if you got half that type of love, you can
Mm-hmm,
survive.
mm-hmm.
You can survive in
Right.
this world. You know, and the other
Mm-hmm,
half might be dedicated to the children, the grandchildren, or whatever. But if you got half of that love and respect, you can go,
mm-hmm,
you can go to
mm-hmm.
the moon and back. you know, because love is universal. It's so strong. God is love. You know, if you got
Yeah.
love in you,
Yeah.
you should be able to endure anything. Not say that
Almost.
almost, almost,
Almost.
and I'm not gonna say that it's not gonna be trying and it's not gonna
Yeah.
be hurtful and painful, but
Hmm.
this is what life is all about. You know, when we kids and growing up, we can't wait to get grown. You know what I'm saying? As little kids or teenagers, we can't wait to get grown. I'm tired of this,
Yeah.
man. I want to be grown.
Yeah.
Then when you get there, you be like, woo, I wish I was a little kid again.
Mhm.
That's the same thing about life. And the same thing about relationships. Once you make
Absolutely.
that mistake, once you step over that boundary,
Hmm.
some people are ashamed and fight their way to come back. Some people go on a run. Well, I got away with it this time. Listen, that's when the selfishness and greed come in. You know, well, I got away with it this time. Listen, I'm gonna feed this disease. I'm gonna feed it.
Hmm.
You know, because I
Hmm.
really believe it's a disease because I say the way it attacks the body. When you're going through a divorce, a separation, a breakup, your body suffers mentally, spiritually, and some people
Hmm.
physically.
Hmm.
You
Hmm.
suffer. You suffer.
Yeah. Jackie?
If you don't want, you mean if both parties don't want to divorce?
Well, if right, I mean,
Okay.
you if both parties don't want to divorce,
Or one of the partners
that's when the
doesn't.
fight starts. The fight starts in
Okay.
the fact that let's fight to get back where we maybe not where we were,
No,
but
you
maybe
don't want to go back to where you were.
we want to be better than what we were.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's what I meant
Exactly.
to say. We want to
Exactly.
fight to get back better
Yeah.
than what we were. Because like you
Right.
said, it could be a situation where they both did wrong.
Hmm.
Just
True.
that one got caught and the other one didn't.
True.
Yeah. Yeah.
You
And
know?
usually it's the man who get caught and the woman don't, because women
True.
cheat way smarter than men do. I'm just
Very
saying.
true.
I believe,
Because contrary to popular belief, women know what
yeah,
they're doing.
I don't believe that too.
Yeah.
I believe in
Not that women don't cheat. We
um,
just cheat smarter than
Right.
men do.
well,
And sometimes men
well,
just go crazy. I think it's that
no,
testosterone that just drives
uh,
you all crazy.
but you know what I say about women though? All right, I might give you that one up, Val, but you know what I say about women? When
What's
it's
that?
good to them, they can't hold it. They're gonna tell somebody.
Oh yeah, they're
Yeah.
gonna
But
So
right.
so
somebody.
so the secret gonna be out.
But you
No,
got
it's
to tell
not.
the right one.
'Cause you
No,
there
no,
you
because
go.
if I
Absolutely.
tell
You
my
gotta
sister
tell the right
Jackie, she's
person.
taking it to her grave. She ain't telling
Yeah, got
nobody, and I
absolutely
can
right.
count on that. She
Yeah.
ain't
For
telling
sure.
Nobody.
nobody, and vice
Nobody.
versa.
But you know
Listen,
something
my
about
sister know things about me don't nobody else in the world know, and
And
nobody else
vice
will ever know
versa.
it.
but you
There
know
you go.
something, Jackie,
What?
listen, sometimes the human body will tell on itself.
Well,
The human
true that.
sometimes you could be in the
Is that
room with
true?
that you could be in the room
Mhm.
with them people and you can sense it like, uh-oh, ooh,
Yeah,
ooh,
That now
no.
that's true.
You know?
That is true. That's true.
Listen,
yeah, you absolutely can. Yeah, my
yeah.
husband put up my cookie
I know
man.
that
He said
firsthand.
accountability.
Hmm.
It said accountability in itself is challenging until one faces one's own selfishness. Yeah, that's very true. Yeah,
Hmm.
he might be
Let, let,
talking from personal experience, but I don't want to
mhm,
out him.
mhm. Ladies, let me tell you all the story. Let me tell you a story. We're not
Go
getting
ahead.
off topic, but this is a
Hmm.
story that I have witnessed. When
Hmm.
I found out my wife was cheating, I sensed it. I didn't
Mm.
see it. I
Mm.
felt it. The kiss was different. The attitude was different. The holding
Mm.
hands was different. The body
Yeah.
movement was different. Making love was different. One night
Mm.
I went to make love to my wife and I was like, I stopped because this is not my woman. I can sense it. Oh, this is not
Mm.
my woman. She's gone.
Hmm.
She's gone. And that's deep.
Yeah.
When you that connected to a person, you love a person that hard, and you can sense their infidelity and when they doing wrong, it hurts even deeper.
Yeah.
You know, because you know why it hurts even deeper? Because what you do is you try to cover it up. You try to look past it. Some people try to keep it, make it going like, I know what you're doing, but as long as you here, as long as you by my side, as long as you loving me, I'm gonna accept this. You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
People
a
do it. That's true.
yeah. Listen,
That's
people
very,
stay
very
together.
true.
People stay together for 30 years, and what's the worst thing is to be unhappy those 20 years. The first 10 was lovely. The last 30 was miserable, but they did it out of whatever. But they hung in there.
Yeah, hang in there. But let me tell you something. I know sometimes when I say that Frank and I, we've been together 45 years and married for, I think, 43, going on 44. And people say, oh, yeah. I said, wait a minute, don't clap. Don't clap. Y'all don't know what it took for us to get to 45 years. Y'all don't know the hell we went through. Y'all don't know the challenges that we face. You don't know how God had to intervene and work things out so that we could say that we've been together for 45 years. So don't just clap.
Yeah.
I think people want to celebrate longevity.
Yeah.
But there's more to having a successful marriage than longevity. I think that's the point that I'm trying
and
to
even more so than now, Val. Even more so than now. And the reason I say that from a black man's point of view, because a lot of my brothers are not doing what they're supposed to do. From a man's point of view, my brothers are not doing what they're supposed to do. Everybody's looking for the easy way out. You know, you want to play this part, but you're not putting the work into it. You're just skimming on the surface until you get caught. Until you get caught.
You get caught.
Right. And you know what? And then sometimes, Val, sometimes getting caught is the best thing could happen to that marriage.
It is. I think sometimes people behave in a way that they want to get caught because they want to stop the affair, but they don't know either how to stop it or to have that conversation with their spouse. So they behave in a way that ultimately results in them getting caught. So now they've got to face it.
Yeah.
Now you got to face it. And on the flip side, some spouses know that their partner is being unfaithful, but they won't say anything because if they say anything, now they've got to deal with it. Now it has become real. So now what are we going to do?
And how many of our people have went through that? How many of our people are going through it right now? Going through it right now. Scared to step out.
I think more people went through it in older generations, especially women, because of the position that women were in. Many were, years. I'm talking like my mom's generation. Most of them were, if they were married, were in situations where the husband was the breadwinner, and now they've got these little children they've got to raise, and they were reluctant to confront their spouse, their husband, on the infidelity, because now what's going to happen? Is the relationship going to end? Is this person going to leave me and go over there? And now here I am with these 4 or 5 or 6, and in some cases 10 children to raise on my own. How am I going to do this? So some women just made a decision, and I'm not saying it was the right decision, but it was the one that they possibly felt was in their best interest to not say anything and just deal with the situation as is. Women nowadays, I don't think do that so much because we have what's the word I'm looking for? Help me assess the word I'm looking for. We have advantages and we have resources nowadays that women 50 years ago just did not have. And I think they were more apt to kind of look the other way.
I agree. So also because more women nowadays are working, and some of them they're the biggest breadwinner in the home.
Right.
I think Melvin's frozen.
No, I'm here.
No? Okay.
Yeah. He just sitting real still.
Yeah. Still, yeah. I know. I hear everything you're saying.
So
I'm in this. I'm in this.
I know you are. So we were talking about how to have the conversations about the affair. And I do believe there have to be many conversations about the affair. And so what about transparency? What does
Mm-hmm.
transparency
Mm-hmm.
look like, and what role does it play in affair recovery? Healthy transparency. What
You
do you
know
think
what?
that looks
I
like?
listen. Listen. I'm gonna tell y'all in all honesty. Men don't take. Listen. Women take infidelity better than men.
Oh, I know that. Yeah, I
Men
believe
men
that.
can't. Some men can't get past it. They can't.
Yeah,
I don't care
yeah.
what they do, how they pretend, whatever. They cannot get past it. So you're gonna
Mm,
always have issues if you don't meet the challenge and have that conversation. Because
right.
to know that another man put his hands on your woman,
No, not his
it
hand.
well, you know what I'm saying. But yeah, but you know what I'm saying. Yeah, yeah. Listen, listen, I had a friend one time. He wouldn't ask this woman. So how did he do? I said, you got to be crazy
No, you don't ask questions like that.
like that. You know what I'm saying? But
No,
listen, some people are just that crazy. You know, they are so hurt, and they think it's all about sexual, and it's not.
and it's not.
That's the key. That's the key we
Yeah.
need to touch on. It's
Hmm.
not all
Hmm.
about sexual. That just plays a part
Right.
because as part of
Uh-oh, we lost Melvin.
Mm-hmm.
Something happened with his phone. Yeah. But how do you address that, sis? Talking about transparency. What does healthy transparency look like when you're having those conversations about the affair?
I really, it's difficult for me to answer that
Hmm.
because I didn't have healthy transparency, that
Hmm.
conversation. Um,
Hmm.
and I've been single for so many years at this point. So it's a little difficult. I mean, I can imagine what it should look like. There has to be a
Yeah.
level of honesty. Um,
Right.
when you're talking um to
Hmm.
one another, and that's key. Talk to one another, not at one another.
Right.
Right. And so that
Hmm.
healthy transparency is, I can give an example. This was well before my divorce. As you know, we
Hmm.
were in church almost every time the church doors were open.
Hmm. Hmm.
And because
Hmm.
the children and I left so early on Sunday morning, I didn't always cook Sunday dinner because we ate at church.
Right.
And my ex husband, who was my husband at the time, made a comment about that one day.
Mm.
So I don't eat liver, don't like liver, never like liver. He loved liver.
Hmm.
So I made it my business to learn how to cook liver. And
Hmm.
before the children and I left for church on Sunday, I made sure that he had a home cooked meal.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. So there, that was a level for me of transparency because he was honest with me about one of the
Mm.
things that bothered him about me and the kids being at church every Sunday. And so
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
in turn turned around and gave him, I met him halfway. Right. And
Right.
the transparency is, don't be afraid to share your feelings, but be mindful of how you do it.
Yes.
Right? Don't
Yeah.
call each
Yeah.
other out of each other's name, all of the
Hmm.
yelling and the cursing and the screaming. Be an adult and sit down and have an adult conversation. Talk to
Hmm.
one another and not at one another. And I think
Yeah.
people would just go a lot further in their conversation.
Yeah. I think that is very, very important to talk to and not at or about.
About, right.
Not pointing fingers or anything like that. Let's just talk about what was going on in our relationship that resulted in it being vulnerable to infidelity. Because things
Right.
happen that make, and that doesn't mean that someone did something or someone did not do something. But affairs don't occur in a vacuum.
Right.
There are things that
Exactly.
happen in a relationship that can make it vulnerable to an affair. Okay. In me and
Like the
Frank's
sound of someone's
situation,
voice.
like
You don't remember that.
that's extreme. Yeah, that's extreme. That's extreme.
No, someone said that.
Oh, yes. I do remember
Yes.
someone did say that one time. Let me
Uh-huh.
see if I could get Melvin back on.
back. I'm
See if you're
back.
back.
I'm so
Okay,
sorry.
there
Someone
you are.
they called me,
That's
knocked my
okay.
whole phone off. Someone called me, not
That's
the whole
okay.
phone.
See, that's what happens when you have those iPhones. That's why I don't be messing with them people. But that's a whole nother show.
Mm.
Okay. But
All right.
yeah, but one of the things that resulted in me and Frank's marriage being vulnerable to an affair was it was kind of a cascade of events that resulted in my high level of insecurity. But the insecurity came from trauma. Insecurity came from physical trauma, sexual trauma, all that, which led to insecurity, which in turn had me on his back like white on rice.
Mm-hmm.
We were young, and I don't know about young men nowadays, but a young person, newly married, dealing with all of that, it was just too much. Now, does that mean he was right in cheating on me? Absolutely not. So, but that can help explain how our relationship became vulnerable to something like that. So that means that there was some work to be done, and not just by him, but also by me.
Mm-hmm.
And both partners, like we said earlier, have to be able to identify the part they played, because it isn't just the unfaithful partner that contributes to the situation.
Correct.
The
Mm-hmm.
betrayed partner has a part to play as well in terms
Mm-hmm.
of accountability, even if it's a small one. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
even if the other one is 90% and you got 10%, own your 10%, or whatever that is, whatever the percentage might be.
Mm-hmm.
Um, we were talking and speaking about transparency and having conversations about the affair. Um,
Mm-hmm.
there's this book that's entitled Not Just Friends, Rebuilding Trust and Recovering Your Sanity After Infidelity, by Dr. Shirley Glass. And I just want to read an excerpt of what she wrote in her book. I'm going to need my magnifying glass. Give me a minute. I'm going to need my magnifying glass because the print is kind of small. And she says, I'm convinced that it is crucial to tell the story of the affair. And she goes on to say, to cleanse the lying that occurred during the affair in the early stages of revelation, the involved partner needs to be totally honest. Only information offered freely can clear the air. You don't want any coercion. Telling the story of the affair replaces a fictionalized account with the truth. It is totally shattering and disorienting to find out that intrigue and oh my God, I still can't see. Deceptiveness were going on while you were assuming everything was normal. That's why
Mm.
both partners need to get out their calendars, discuss the receipts, and review the cell phone calls. Things won't make sense to the betrayed partner until all of the missing pieces are accounted for. That's what Dr. Shirley Glass recommends. So
Mm-hmm.
let's talk about it, because the betrayed partner is saying, well, damn, I thought we were okay. I thought things were going well in our relationship. And now I've been hit with this boulder. Now, how do I make sense of it? I'm going to call him again. How do I make sense of that? And so Dr. Glass is saying, let's sit down and let's look at all of the pieces together, because otherwise I feel like I'm losing my mind.
Yeah.
What do you say
Um,
to that, sis?
I understand what she's saying. Um,
Mm-hmm.
if I were in that situation now, or if I was in that situation now because I'm
Mm-hmm.
more mature, I might be
Mm-hmm.
able to do that. Back then,
Mm,
no,
couldn't
ma'am,
do it.
because for me to think and live as if everything's okay. Yeah, we've got some issues, of course. And now you're gonna come up with all these receipts. I think you're here and you're doing it.
Mhm.
No, mm-mm. No. And now there's no way, because now it's affecting my peace. No.
Yeah,
So
but see,
it's great,
your
but
piece is
that's
but your piece is
huh?
gonna be disturbed. Your piece is gonna be disturbed anyway.
Not necessarily.
But once you find out about the affair, your peace is already gone. It's shot. There is no peace.
No. I might not have peace with that person.
Yeah.
Pack your bags.
I get it. I get it. Okay.
Right?
Okay.
Because I'm yeah, back then, I don't know if I know because and I don't know if my daughters are watching. Because the relationship had issues already.
Hello?
Had I have gotten receipts then, it wouldn't have been pretty.
It would have been dangerous.
It wouldn't have, not at all. Because of that. No. See, I know how to control my anger now. I couldn't control it then.
Okay.
Right?
Well, that's a good point. I guess it does require a certain level of maturity because somebody might get cut.
Yeah.
If there is too much information given. But I think the couple has to decide what information is going to be shared. Now, I do believe that if whatever the betrayed partner is asking up until the bedroom, I think that's where you draw the line. But up until that point, whatever the betrayed partner is asking, I believe they should get an answer. They shouldn't get something like, well, that doesn't matter. Well, why are you asking that? Well, why you want to know that? That's not the right response. You answer the question. Now, you don't get into the details. You don't talk about what went on in the bedroom. You don't talk about any sexual intimacy that occurred. But you can talk about where you met, how you met.
How many times you seen her? That's the first question.
Do you love this person? What are your feelings towards this person?
That's true.
Did y'all go on vacation together? Where did you hang out? Did you do it in a hotel or did you go to that person's place? Some trade partners will ask those questions. And if they're asking those questions, I believe they deserve a response.
Yeah.
Everything other than the sex.
But do you really want to hear some of that? Do you really want to hear the truth in some of that? When that question comes up, and you say when that question comes up, you say, "Well, how many times you been with her?" Do you really want to know that answer?
Well, it depends on the individual. Now, here's the thing, and this is what I say to the couples that I counsel: be prepared for whatever the response may be. If you are not ready to hear it, if you don't trust yourself to hear the absolute truth, don't ask the question. So we've got to be honest with ourselves about how much we can handle emotionally. Okay? I ask a lot of questions. I'm very inquisitive. Now, Frank didn't always want to answer the questions. Eventually, he got to the place where he would answer any question that I would ask. We talk freely now about affairs that happened in the past, his and mine. We talk freely about it now because we've gotten beyond all of that stuff. It was a process. When it was first going on,
and that comes through maturity.
It comes through maturity.
Yes, because 10 years ago, you I don't think you'd have been talking. 20 years ago, you might not be talking like that.
No. That's why I left this behind 3 times in the course of our marriage. I don't know if you'll realize,
when we were talking earlier, when we were talking earlier, and one of the questions when discussing the affair, what boundaries, right? And we talked about speaking one at a time, and we talked about both partners being willing to put the work in. And depending on the length of the relationship. See, Val and Frank fit that, right? They were already together for years. And they both were willing to put in the work. I mean, they both were willing to put in the work. And so it's, I look at Val and Frank, and one, I love them dearly. And I am so proud of where they are. That's not the norm, though. Unfortunately, that's not the norm because they both were transparent, right? Y'all got
Mm.
to the point where you were transparent. Everybody can't do that. I
Yeah.
wish people
Yeah.
could, but everybody cannot sit and let me, Jackie.
You know why, Jackie?
I could not
You know
sit
why,
and
Jackie?
somebody tell me, no, I just
Yeah.
not me.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And that's
But
why I said
Jackie,
you have to be able to be
okay.
honest with yourself about what you can handle.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yeah.
But
You got to
I
be
was
honest
about
with
to
yourself.
say that. I was about to
Mm.
say, Jackie. You know, Jackie. I was
Yes,
just about.
Melvin.
Wow. You just touched on the nerve.
I didn't mean to touch on the nerve, Melvin.
No, because I was. First of all, at that point, I lost my train of thought. I lost my train of thought because I was ready to
Wow.
respond to you.
Mm.
But what you said, and I look back over my life, and I had to think about it, and it just threw me off. I'm sorry. Can you
That's
repeat
okay.
that
Yeah.
question again? Can you repeat that question again?
No, what I was
Oh, you was making a
I know I
statement.
was saying I know now. Well, I
Mm-hmm.
know me, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so the way for me to sum that up, before you have these discussions, you have to be honest with yourself about yourself.
Okay,
Right.
so my response was, you have to go to the mirror. Like you said, you got to go to the
Mm-hmm.
mirror and be honest
Mm-hmm.
with yourself.
Absolutely.
I could lie to you, but I can't lie to myself.
Right.
You
Well,
know,
you
like you
could,
said, you
but
got to go to the mirror, the man in the mirror or the woman in the
Mm-hmm.
mirror, and
Yeah.
respond to ask those serious questions. And you
Yeah.
have to answer them.
right.
Because if
Yeah.
I can't answer them to myself, how can I answer it to you?
Hmm.
True. I think though sometimes, unfortunately, sometimes we don't know which answers we can handle until after we hear them. We may think
That's
that
true.
we're able
That's
to
true.
handle it.
That is true.
Um,
Hmm.
and then once we hear it, we realize, okay, this is too much. Let me just back off a little bit
Hmm.
because I'm getting a little bit too much information. Me,
Yeah.
I want all the information.
Mhm.
Well, look,
I don't want to know about what happened in the bedroom, but I want to know all the other
Uh-huh.
stuff. And fortunately for me and Frank, we were
Hmm.
able to
Hmm.
have those conversations, not all at
Hmm.
once, we had a
Hmm.
whole bunch of them.
Hmm.
Okay.
All right, but I have a question for you, Val.
Sure.
Would it have made a difference when you counseling people if it was just lust or it was intimacy? Would that
It don't
make a
matter. Betrayal is betrayal.
difference? Okay.
Whether it is a physical betrayal, whether it's an
Uh-huh.
emotional betrayal,
Hmm.
whether it is a technological betrayal,
Right.
because you can betray your spouse
Right.
online.
Right.
So the type of betrayal
Hmm.
doesn't matter in terms of having to go through a healing process
But that was my
having the
question.
conversation
Is the
with your
healing process
spouse.
different? Can you handle it different by hearing those certain words? That
Well, and again, it depends on the individual. And here's the thing, at least from my perspective, an emotional affair is much harder to recover from than just flat out pure sex. Now,
that's
even
what
absolutely.
I
if the
wanted.
partner
That's what I
I
wanted
only
to
has
know.
agree.
sex and there's no heart involved,
Right.
it's still going to hurt. But
Right.
to know
Uh
that
huh.
your partner has given their heart to
Yeah.
someone else is a much deeper betrayal. It's harder to
Mm,
come back from. Can it happen?
mm,
Yes, but
yes.
it is usually a
Mm,
much longer and more difficult process because it requires the unfaithful partner getting to a place where he or she has emotionally disconnected
From
from the affair partner. And that doesn't always happen overnight.
nope.
Even when there's
Sure don't.
reconciliation between the husband and the wife, you
mm-hmm.
can reconcile with your spouse and
Mm-hmm.
still feel some level of emotional connection to
Mm-hmm.
your affair partner. That
Hmm.
takes
Yeah.
time,
Yeah.
and
That's very true.
the couple has to decide if they're willing to work through that.
Yeah. I agree. I agree.
Yeah.
And you know when it's really sad
Hmm.
when in that betrayal you fall in love with that person and you love them more than your spouse.
Yeah, and treat them better than you treated your
Yeah,
spouse.
yeah,
That's the part that I think
yeah,
really, really hurts
yeah.
when you realize that your spouse is treating the unfaithful partner
Mm-hmm.
and
Those are my
making
treat too.
side piece better than they
Mm-hmm.
treat you.
Yeah, yeah, no doubt.
That's a tough pill to
Absolutely.
swallow.
It
That
is.
is a very,
Absolutely.
very tough pill to swallow, but it does happen. And when you look at it just from a logistical point of view,
Mm-hmm.
it kind of makes sense because the unfaithful partner doesn't have all of the trappings and challenges and whatnot with
Mm-hmm.
their affair partner that they have with their spouse.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. We have to sit down and figure out how to pay a bill. We have to figure out and say, where's our child going to school? We have
Mm-hmm.
to sit and have conversations about our kid being bullied. We have to sit down and figure out, okay, which school is my child going to? Okay, we got 4 children and 2 of them need shoes, but we can only afford 1 pair. How are we going to do that? You
Mm-hmm.
go over there with Miss Susie. You
Mm-hmm.
ain't got to do that. All you got to do is just show up,
Yeah,
and you don't have
yeah,
all that stuff that you're dealing with.
yeah.
So, yeah, all of that. Hey, Sandra, thank you for watching, sis. I appreciate you. Thank you for tuning in.
Mm-hmm.
So, after there's been betrayal and couples, let's say they've gone through the healing process, sometimes there are still triggers that occur.
Mm-hmm.
You could hear something, see something, smell
Mm-hmm.
something, even
Mm-hmm.
taste something. One of your senses has
Mm-hmm.
been affected,
Mm-hmm.
and now you're triggered, and now you're right back to D-Day again. Because now you're thinking about the affair that your partner had, and how they were unfaithful, and how they hurt you. So,
Mm-hmm.
what would you say to someone for how to manage those painful triggers or any intrusive thoughts that they may have after the healing has taken place? What would you say to them?
I would say pray. I would say pray.
Okay.
That
And,
this is
and when you're
this
done
this is
praying, then what you gonna
this
do?
is when the spiritual part. This is when the spiritual part come in. See, because
Yeah.
sometimes you have to change your walk just to adjust to what you're going through.
Mm-hmm,
You
mm-hmm.
know, sometimes we are so fearful of change because you didn't do anything wrong. It was them. But you have to change your walk. You have to change your prayer in order just to survive every day.
Mm-hmm, 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 mm-hmm. I do agree that prayer can be helpful. Um, but what do you do now? I've prayed because you can't be in constant prayer 24/7. And I'll see I'm triggered for many hours throughout the day. I've prayed, I've read
Mm-hmm.
scripture, I've listened to worship music.
Mm-hmm.
Now what do I do?
But you know
Jackie,
what,
what
man? I
oh, I'm sorry.
believe that. I'm sorry, Jackie. Go ahead, Jackie.
Oh, I
You want?
wasn't gonna say anything.
Oh, I believe that. I believe that that's something that, like you said, the music. You know how you hanging out with some that song come on. You know what I'm saying? Damn, that was our song. You know what I
Mm,
mean? Or like you said, you at a restaurant with your spouse after the healing process, trying to make it work, and order
yeah.
something that just in your brain, order it, and that taste, and it comes back to you sitting across from that person having lunch or having dinner. You know,
Hmm.
this is when you have to really dig deep and said, you know what? You have to humble yourself. I was wrong when I did that. I was wrong when we danced to that. You know what I'm saying? You got to be honest with yourself.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, I was wrong.
I agree. Yeah.
And I think that's the best way to deal with that.
I also think that letting your spouse know that you are being triggered, because when you trigger, because it starts here, and once you have a thought, it's going to result in a feeling, and feelings
Mm-hmm.
result in behaviors, and it's going to
Mm-hmm.
impact the ways in which you interact with your spouse. So
Mm-hmm.
I believe the thing to do is to tell them about it. Listen, Frank and I are well into the healing process. And there are things that I still find triggering. I could see something and it
Mm,
triggers me. And I'll tell him, I'll let him know
mm,
that I was triggered by so and so,
mm,
whatever it may have been. And we'll sit down and we'll talk about it. He said, okay, but Val, what do you need from me to help you in
mm,
this process? What do you need from me um, now that you're feeling triggered and you're hurting, you're thinking about all those things,
that's,
and vice versa. Sometimes something will trigger him.
mm,
He was cleaning out our file cabinet yesterday,
mm,
bless his heart, and he came across something in our file cabinet that he thought was connected to me being involved with somebody else, and
mm,
he has this look that he gets on his face when he's suspicious of something, and he came with a folder. Hmm, So what was
mm,
this? And I knew he was being triggered by something, but it was something innocent. It was a trip, but it was a trip I had taken with church. And he thought it
mm,
was a trip that I had gone on with someone else.
mm,
So I had to give him reassurance in that moment, just
mm,
like in times when I'm triggered, he
mm,
gives me reassurance. So I think it's important to
mm,
not keep it to yourself when you do
mm,
experience a trigger, but say, hey, babe,
mm,
that their song, it triggers
mm,
me, or this place over here triggers me because I know that
mm,
you and Shaniqua were
mm,
in
mm,
that hotel together or whatever.
yeah.
Um, I had a couple on a few weeks ago, and they've experienced infidelity in their marriage. And she said her husband said to her to avoid going down a particular street
Mm,
because going down that street is triggering for him because somewhere on that street he spent time with the affair partner. So he and his
mm,
wife agreed that they would do whatever they could to avoid that particular area.
wow.
So that's why those
Okay.
conversations are important to have with one
Mm,
another.
mm,
So that the
mm,
two are working together. You work
mm,
together against the issue, not
mm.
against one another. Go ahead, Mel. You're about to say something.
No, I was about to say my alarm is going off on my chicken that I'm baking. I'll be right back. I'm sorry.
Yeah, go ahead. That's all right. That's all right. So I want to say hey to my daughter-in-law. Hey, Rico. Thanks for
Hey,
watching, babe.
Rico.
How you doing? And Sandra, again, thank you so much for watching. My other daughter-in-law, Nini, was on there. She said, hey, Mama, and hey, Aunt Jackie as
Hey,
well.
Mimi.
So lastly, I just want to ask for those who decide to stay together, how do you think that they can use this experience, as painful as it is, as an opportunity for growth instead of resentment? What would you say, sis?
um, well, actually, my ex-husband and I, we did stay together. But to be honest, um, there was there was still underlying resentment, right? And
Mm,
um, there there really was no opportunity, and this is just me, right? There really was no opportunity for growth at that
mm,
point,
mhm,
because
mhm.
in some relationships, it's not just about the infidelity,
Right.
right? It's about how that person treats you, how they
Mm,
talk to you, are they
mhm.
supportive? And so it's
Right.
not just the infidelity that is the problem in a relationship. And so
Mhm.
when one partner gets to the point where enough is enough and I can't do this anymore, there really is no room for growth. And what happens is
Yeah.
you'll stay together for the sake of the children, or because you think it's financially sound. And so you do
Mm,
that. So I don't have an answer to that, because there really was no opportunity for growth. I still
yeah.
held the resentment in. And so for the listeners, I'm not a prude or anything. Let me just say that. For those of you
Mhm,
who know me, you know me, but I've only been married once. And my ex-husband and I were together for many, many years.
mhm.
Many, many years. And
Even
so
before
my
you got married.
experience with it, Right. My experience
Mhm.
with it, it's not a lot. I don't have I've had other serious, maybe two serious relationships since then, but we weren't
Mhm.
married and I didn't go into those relationships looking for marriage.
Right.
Right? I wasn't looking for um a lifelong relationship because I understood one, I wasn't emotionally ready for that.
Mm.
And now, time has just gone by. I really don't want to be. So, yeah, I really can't. I don't know
Yeah.
because I had an underlying resentment
Yeah.
because I had
I get
poured
that.
so much into it.
Mm. Yeah. I get that. And what you described, if those things, love, caring, compassion, consideration, support, empathy, if all of that is absent from the relationship before the affair occurs, wow, it makes coming back from that monumentally, monumentally challenging because it's
Hmm.
not just the affair that has to be addressed and healing
Right,
from that, but you have to address all that other stuff that predated the affair.
right.
Um, the maltreatment and the disrespect, if there was disrespect, the rejection, if there was rejection,
Yeah.
all that that adds a whole nother layer to it that you
Yeah.
have to address. And that is why sometimes when I'm counseling a couple where there's been infidelity, there there are a couple of stages. There's affair recovery where we talk
Mm-hmm.
about the affair and deal with all that. Then there is marriage recovery because now we
Hmm.
got to talk about all that stuff within the marriage that
Mm-hmm.
predated the affair.
Hmm.
And it's done that way because if you talk about the stuff that predated the affair before you deal with the affair, then the betrayed partner can start to feel put upon. It feels like someone's being blamed. But if you work on the affair first and recover
Mm-hmm.
from that, and now you work on marriage recovery, then you stand a better chance of full recovery and reconciliation and restoration,
Okay.
at least from my perspective.
Mm.
Um, oh, my cookie man just said we had to face a trigger from over 15 years ago recently. Didn't go to certain event. Right, because of location, dredged up pain. Just speaking on it was painful. He's absolutely right.
Mm-hmm.
And he says he was disappointed. Yes, but more importantly, he understood why. A friend of his that he worked with a colleague remember when Frank was doing corrections in upstate New York? He was a corrections
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
officer.
Mm-hmm.
So one of the guys that he worked with was retiring,
Mm-hmm.
and the location of his retirement party was in the town that we lived in. Where Frank was involved with
Hmm.
a serious involvement with someone there,
Mm-hmm.
and he mentioned it to me. He told me about the party and whatnot, and said,
Mm-hmm.
"Well, Val, how do you feel about going?" And I said, "I don't." I mean,
Mm-hmm.
I didn't say it that matter of factly because we did have conversations about it, and
Mm-hmm.
I worked really hard at being untriggered, if that's a word, and not allowing myself to be affected to the point where we didn't go to the guy's retirement party. But I didn't get past it. I won't say that I couldn't get past it because I believe some things, it's a choice. It's not that we can't do things, it's we choose to not do things. And I
Mm-hmm.
chose to not get beyond it. And I said, no, Frank, I don't want to do that. I don't want to subject myself to that because just being in that environment, because that was an extremely
Mm-hmm.
painful time in our relationship. And
Mm-hmm.
I already knew that just being in that environment,
Mm-hmm.
um, especially with his colleagues, because a lot of those guys were going to be there that he worked with at the prison who knew
Mm-hmm.
about the affairs that he was having. And I said, no, I'd rather not. And he
Mm-hmm.
understood. He was
Mm-hmm.
disappointed, like you said, he was disappointed, but he understood. He said, okay,
Mm-hmm.
because it wasn't even a thought of, well, can I go without you? That if that thought occurred to him, he didn't say it.
Mm-hmm.
He never
Okay.
even said anything along those lines because that would have been you know that would have been a little problem.
Yeah, no doubt. Yeah. Yeah,
Just a little
he
So
did the right thing. That's my man. He did the right thing.
yeah, yeah. Thanks for that, Lovey, because I really had forgotten about that. Because and
Mhm.
see, that's how I think a couple um, can address triggers in a healthy way.
Mhm.
To really talk about it and say, because
Mhm.
I could have pretended like I wasn't bothered by it,
Mhm.
and I could have gone with him to the retirement party, and I would have been, and I know me, Jackie, you know me, and my face
Mhm.
talks, and I probably would have been sitting there with a stank face and an even
Yep,
stankier attitude,
Mhm.
and then he would
absolutely.
not have enjoyed himself.
Mm-mm.
Yeah.
So I had to be honest with myself and
Mhm.
say, no, Val, this is
Mhm.
something you don't want to subject yourself to because you're not ready to handle it.
Mm-hmm.
Amen to that.
Hey, Tiana, thank you for watching, Tiana. I appreciate you.
Val,
So,
this was a
yeah,
very
go ahead.
interesting. This is a very interesting topic. I hate to leave, Jackie. I'm telling you, Jackie, we could go on all night with this.
We
We
Yeah,
really
could,
we're about
could.
to
Melvin.
close. We're about to close out anyway. So
Oh.
I was just going to ask for any final words that you all may have.
Mhm.
Any final word, Melvin? Since you got to go, you go first. Unless you
Mhm.
got to leave right now.
I want to say, uh, 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 it's a hard pill to swallow, and a lot of folks have swallowed it and survived.
Mm-hmm.
You can survive.
Mm-hmm.
You can heal. You can love
Yes.
again. We didn't even get to that part where you can't come back and you have to love
Mm-hmm.
someone else or try to fall in love again. We didn't get to that part where them walls are up and you don't even know
Right.
how to love no more. Yo, this, we could have been on here another 2 hours easily. But
Yes, we could have been. I don't know if the viewers would have been here, but
yeah,
yeah, I get
but
you.
but thank you for inviting me. It's always a pleasure, Sister Val, to spend time with you. Jackie, it's always a pleasure to see you. Thank
Likewise, Melvin.
And I would love to see y'all
Yeah.
real soon. If you have a topic that I
Okay.
do, I will definitely come back and speak to you.
Well, I appreciate that, my brother. I love you, and it's good to see you too. So until the next time, I just want to give Jackie an opportunity. So if you have to go, Mel, I'll take you out of the. I'll put
Okay.
you in the waiting area. Thank you, brother. I love you. I'll see you next time. Yeah,
um,
Tiana was saying that's the one she was referring to when Melvin was talking about going into a new relationship with walls up. She said, "Do I even want to do it again?" So,
uh,
Jackie, can you speak to that? And any final words that you may have?
do I even want to do it again? Well, okay, so let me, and these is also my final words. I believe in
Mm-hmm.
love. Let me say that, right? I believe in love. I believe in marriage. I believe that there's someone for everyone, with the exception of
Right.
me, however.
Well, not you. You are no exception. Don't even start that.
Well,
Don't
I
come over here.
say that because I think the one that was really meant for me,
Mm,
that time passed, right?
yeah.
And
Yeah.
so that person still has a piece of my heart. But
Mm,
I believe in love. I believe in marriage. Do it again, yes. Tear down the walls. I mean, and you don't
yeah.
just whoop, tear them all down at once, but it's a process. But with that
Yeah.
process, the first thing again is for someone, you have to be honest with yourself
Yeah.
what you will and will not stand for. And have that, if you're going to embark on a new relationship and fall in love with someone again, have those conversations first. Have the
Right.
pre-marriage counsel, the pre-marriage counseling. Like have
Mhm.
those honest conversations. Listen, I was with someone. Um, it is gonna be work, Tiana. It is. But is it worth the work that you have to put in? Right?
Yeah.
Again, I think marriage is absolutely wonderful when it's done right. But you've got to put in the work. You have to
Gotcha.
talk to one another, be honest, be transparent. Tell your partner how you feel. One of the worst things, and nowadays I'm sure they do it more because this generation is just different. But when I was coming up,
Mm-hmm.
partners didn't talk about sex, what they like and what they didn't like, because if a woman
Yeah.
began to talk about what she liked and what she didn't like, oh my gosh, something was wrong with us. And so a lot of
Right.
times women will go into a relationship and they don't even know what they want. They don't even know what they like. So take some time
That's true.
to love yourself and
And
know
learn
what
yourself.
what you right. Learn yourself. Like if I
Mm-hmm.
was to enter into a relationship right now, the brother, listen, there's a list. No, I'm kidding. But he'd have some stuff because I'm not. There are certain things I know I'm not going to tolerate, and I would let him know that from the
Yeah.
beginning, because I'm then giving him a choice to say whether or not
Mm,
he even wants to be in that type of relationship.
very
And we just
true.
have to do that. We have to be honest. Trusting safety
Yeah.
is a big deal. Yeah, it is.
It
But only
is.
you know, Tiana, only you
Yeah.
know
Yeah.
whether or not the person that you're with or the
Mm-hmm.
person that you're considering being with, can
Mm-hmm.
you trust them with your heart? And can they
Right.
trust you with theirs?
Mm-hmm.
And have those
Absolutely.
conversations.
Yeah.
Let them know
It's,
what you're looking for, what you want, and vice versa.
mhm.
So those are my love is beautiful. Love is beautiful.
Yeah.
Remember, God is love, and He created us to be in love with someone, most of
Mm-hmm.
us. So
Mm-hmm.
embrace it, but be honest.
Be
Don't
honest.
don't pretend to be who you're not. When you go out on that
Mm-hmm.
first date and the women, they eat that. No, I want a cheeseburger with French fries. Don't give me no salad. No, be yourself. Be
Yeah.
yourself.
Keep
Don't
it real.
right. Keep it real. So that's
Keep it
it.
real. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's interesting, Tiana, yeah, you mentioned trust and safety. And one of the things about trust for me is to trust that you will be okay no matter what.
Mm.
Even if your heart is broken, even if you are betrayed, trust that you will be okay and
Mm-hmm.
that your emotional and mental and spiritual well being is not dependent on the behavior of your partner. Now, do we
Absolutely.
want our partners to behave right? Absolutely. We don't want him to cheat. We don't want him to do any of those things, but trust that you will be okay. Trust yourself and trust God. One of the things that I said to Frank, said to him, and I still say it. Now, the trust I have in him is way more than it was when we were going through all of the challenges. Now, is my trust 100%? I can't say that it's 100%, but what I do have 100% trust in, I trust God. And what I said to Frank
Absolutely.
is, even if I don't trust you, I trust God. And I trust that I'm going to be okay because my Heavenly Father is going to take care of me. And not only take care of me, but I trust God to let me know what I need to know when I need to know it.
Mm-hmm.
So that can cut
Absolutely
back
will.
on some of the paranoia, some of the concern, some of the needing to look and check and investigate, because can't nobody unveil and uncover something like the Holy Spirit of God. He has done it
Amen.
for me so many times, and Frank couldn't figure it out. Frank would call me Snoop Doggy Dog because he would try to hide in the most creative ways. And I'm telling you, God will tell on him every single time. So I trust God and I trust myself and I trust that I will be okay no matter what. And that's what I would recommend
Amen.
for you, Tiana. You said you can't go through another betrayal. It took 10 years for you to get over your ex husband and he's no longer with us. I get that. Getting over betrayal is very, very challenging. But I sit here as a woman who has experienced it, and I can tell you that it is possible. Is it
It
hard?
is.
Yes. Is it challenging? Yes. Is it work? Yes. But not just me, we made a decision that our marriage and our family was worth it, because it ain't just about me and Frank. We've got 3 adult children and we've got 4 amazing grandbabies. So it's not just about us, it's our legacy.
Mm-hmm.
So we made a decision that the work was worth it, and we decided to put in the work. So it's possible, Tiana, and I just want to encourage you with that.
Right.
So,
and Tiana, before you close, Val, Tiana, I just
yeah.
want to say my ex-husband and I, we did not get back together as a couple, but we have 3 children. We have 5 grandchildren. We're at birthdays, parties together. We spend Christmas together. Sometimes we're together for Thanksgiving. So there comes a point where you do get over the betrayal. Because as Val said, she trusts God and she trusts herself. And I'm just saying all of that to say you do get through it. My ex-husband and I are friends. I call him and check on him. He calls me and he checks on me. And we show up for one another. So there's always hope. There's always hope, sis.
Always. And even Jackie's ex, I can honestly say that I love him. I didn't like him for a whole lot of years. I couldn't stand him for a whole lot of years. But I started to say his name. I won't say his name. I won't call out his name. But I love him. And he did not always treat my sister well. And that was during the time when I didn't like him very much, but I love him. So, yeah, you can get on the other side of almost anything. I think almost anything. So, Jackie, I put up the link to.
I see it, sis.
So
Thank
talk
you.
for just a few minutes about Jackie's Inspirational Corner. What's that about? Tell
Jackie's Inspirational Corner. Wow, God gave it to me, 3 years ago now? And I just go, well, I haven't been on in a while. I am in the process of posting videos again. I post videos, either I'm praying or discussing scripture. And the whole idea is that it's inspirational. I just want to inspire people. I love talking about the word of God. I love talking about the Lord in general. That's my passion. And so it's just to share how God has impacted my life, what he's done for me, and to sort of, help break down the scripture, and to just give hope to those who watch. So just be on the lookout. There will be some videos that will be posting soon. I'm on Instagram under Lifeline Prayer Ministry, all one word, Lifeline Prayer Ministry. There's posting there. And it's all just to inspire people, because God's been good. God is good. And sharing the love of Christ, that's what I'm here for.
Okay, I want to make sure. Okay, hold on. This thing won't act right.
Okay. You know you're still on, right? Oh, okay.
Yeah. I was trying to do that because I can't talk and type at the same time. I'm sorry. I know young folks do it. I see them talking and they're on their phone and they're texting. I can't do that.
Yeah.
So I can't. I have to stop talking while typing. So Lifeline Prayer Ministry. I wanted to make sure I spelled it right. That's on Instagram.
That's
Lifeline
on Instagram.
Prayer Ministry.
Yes, and Facebook actually.
And Facebook. All right. So, sis, thank you so much. I love you. I love you. I love you.
I love you.
For being here. And those of you who are watching, thank you. And Jackie's words, talking chew gum. Yeah. Listen, I am challenged when it comes to technological stuff.
You're not by yourself, sis.
Yeah. And Tiana, I saw your comment. I saw the comment that you made about you talked to your husband, your ex-husband, before he died, and it sounds like you all had had closure.
Good.
You had closure before he passed away, and some healing. It sounds like some healing had taken place. So praise God for that. Praise God for that.
Yes.
So, wow. It's 8:30, sis. I can't believe we talked as long as we did. For
I
those of you
know.
who are still there, thank you for hanging in there. And anyone who has not already subscribed to the Marriage Beyond the Breach, hold on. If you haven't, here
Subscribe,
I am.
like, and hit the notification button so you will know
Thank
every
you.
time they post a video.
Thank you. Say that again, sis.
Subscribe, like, and hit the notification button. So one, you'll know when they're going live, and if you miss the live, you can go back and watch the replay. Good information.
Yes.
Let me tell very
Yes.
good information, very good topics. They have great speakers on. So really take advantage of the information that you're able to receive.
Thank you, sis. Thank you, sis. So yeah, subscribe, like, share, um, whatever. And I just want to say, come back on next week. I'm glad you popped in too, Tiana. Come back again next week. Next week, we're going to be talking about marriage and ministry. We're going to be talking to couples who do ministry together. Marriage and ministry, marriage as ministry. Because I do believe that for those of us who are married, marriage
That's
is
the
our
first.
number one ministry, our first ministry.
Absolutely.
So come back again next week. And if that's not a topic you're interested in, I'm sure you know somebody who might be interested in it. So just share it. So look for the flyer up on Facebook. I put the flyer up on Facebook before we go on. So I love you guys. Thank you all for being here. And I will see you all next time. I love you. Uh-oh. Here I go.